Hi there, this is Solitary Ronin from Solitary Ronin Films, and welcome to another random review. Today's random review is a film from 1981. It's Lola by Rainer Werner Fassbinder, starring Barbara Sakova, Mario Adorf, and Armin Mueller-Stahl. This release is in the line of the Studio Canal Vintage World Cinema. Studio Canal also have Vintage Classics line, and a funny thing happened. I pretty much just watched this to help clear my backlog of the Studio Canal Vintage line, so I didn't really have any intention of doing a video on this film until I saw the film, and then I was kind of compelled to do a video on it because I thought it was quite marvellous and quite fantastic. Maybe slightly long, but that's just nitpicky. So the Studio Canal has an interview with Barbara Sakova, who played Lola, and an interview with Julianne Lorenz, who was the editor in the film and one of Fassbinder's wives. I think she edited about 14 Fassbinder films. Fassbinder obviously died way too early at age 37, but he did make a lot of films in that time, and strange enough, this is one of them. He was originally pitched the idea to do a remake of The Blue Angel by von Sternberg, which he didn't want to do because he viewed that film as a masterpiece, but he kind of adapted the film to his own purpose. Fassbinder is a director who I don't have that much experience with. I've only really seen World on a Wire, and I have Bitter Tears of Petra Van Kant in my backlog. He's just one of those directors I never got around to watching his films, but after, I liked World on a Wire, and I really liked Lola, so I'll watch The Bitter Tears at some point, and then I'll maybe expand my Fassbinder collection. This is one of those films that, Fassbinder got to a point where critics and some of his fans thought he'd sold out and was becoming too commercial. And this was one of the films that was kind of levelled at. I do think if it was shot in a different kind of style, I perhaps wouldn't like it as much as I do. Also, I'm going to have to rewatch it, but it's one of those films that, if I gave halves, I'd probably give a 4.5, but I don't. But because of the way it ends, I just went right ahead and gave it a 5. Even though probably on a rewatch it'll probably be a 4, but I was just kind of blown away by it. Basically two elements, and they're both kind of stylistic choices. One is the fact it's a film made in 1981, but it's set in 1957, and it's also kind of set almost in an alternate universe, 1957. It's not Germany, it's kind of a transatlantic fashion thing is going on, so it feels very much like a strange universe. It's a bit like Godard's Alphaville, and also the fact that Fassbinder decided to shoot it in what I term Bava-vision, which is just ridiculous pastel colours and just amazing, colour schemes, cinematography. you know, it is Bava and Argento mixed through with French New Wave. The production design was done by Udo Kier, who is more famous for being a bit of an oddball actor, but he did the production design in this film. So it just has this, yes, it's set in 1957 in Germany in a small town, but it's just like a different universe, and that's what immediately attracted me to it. This is not a kitchen sink provincial film about, you know, local corruption in a country town. This is like a fever dream from a completely different universe. There's a lot going on in the film. Set in 1957, so it's a decade or so after the Second World War and the defeat of Germany, and it focuses on the power players in the town, the mayor, the guy who's pretty much in charge of all the building work. And it's about an out-of-town building inspector, played by Armin Mueller-Stahl, who comes out and wants to sort this, see what's going on and kind of sort this place out. There's a huge project where all the people in the town, or all the power players in the town, are going to get ridiculously rich. It's about corruption, and Fassbinder really used it to talk about the dangers of the corruption in 80s Germany. So it's a film really about 80s Germany set in 50s Germany. So there's things going on post-war, pre-war, during war. There's a wonderful turn by Mario Adorf, almost forgot his name, who has been in lots of things. You recognise his face, and he plays the guy who gets all the building work, so he's like more kind of rough and ready, a different class. Even his wife talks about the difference in class. You can see his wife, you know, would be the wife of a Nazi general or something, so she's about class and how certain people should be kept apart from other people. He's more a totalitarian, but in the same sense of he wants greed. You have these protesters that are anti-militarism, who the people in power just kind of say, oh, that's the price of a democracy, we have to allow these people to protest and stuff. It's about old money and new money. It's about corruption. And again, we have an outsider who comes into the town and wants to clean up this. But again, it's one of those, even though it's shot in 1981, it has that 70s feel of inevitability, about you can't change the system. One of the allies that Armin Stuhler finds, he types something in a typewriter, which is very apt, which I won't say what it is. So that's kind of the background, and we haven't actually talked about Lola, who is the lead character in the front of the film. She is a singer slash prostitute who is in this salon or whorehouse that pretty much the whole town goes to, or certainly all the people in power go to. And she has fathered a child with the builder. And Armin Mueller-Stahl's character falls for her, but he doesn't know what she does for a living. She doesn't know that she is somewhat involved with the building contractor, who he is obviously trying to expose and put away. So you have all these dynamics going on. You have the dynamic of Lola controlling people, wanting to make a better life for herself and her daughter, who lives with her mother, who is Armin Mueller-Stahl's housekeeper. So everything's kind of connected. Obviously there's revelations that happen, and it, again, I was kind of originally going, this is a 4-star film, and depending how the ending goes is pretty much how it's going to stay a 4-star film or elevate to being a 5-star film just on first watch. Obviously I'll have to rewatch it and regrade it, obviously, because you never make your grading decision on one view. But the ending went the way I liked the ending to go, but the film, yeah, like I said, it's a little overlong, but there's wonderful little character beats. Armin Mueller-Stahl's secretary, who obviously really likes him, she's a bit of a character. Fassbinder does love faces, and some grotesque faces, in the same way Leone and Pasolini have an eye for like strange looking people. But it's really, the two things really drew me. Obviously Armin Mueller-Stahl's fantastic, and Barbara Sokova's fantastic, everybody's fantastic in it. But like I said, shot in Bava-vision, the colours are just insane. If you're allergic to Technicolor and really bright colours, it's probably not the film for you. You know, he shoots Armin Mueller-Stahl, he's almost got a band of light across his eyes to really bring out his baby blue eyes. It's completely stylised, and again, I just love this, made in the 80s, set in the 50s, still has the 30s and 40s in it, but he's actually talking about the 80s. I think that mechanism works really well, and the fact that the bizarre decor, the strange fashions, it just really works in this kind of weird alternative universe thing that's going on, even though it's still grounded in corruption. You know, at one point, Mueller-Stahl, you know, goes to the newspaper reporter to try and, you know, expose what's going on, and then of course in the scene after that we see a newspaper reporter having dinner with all the power players. So the, you know, the town is pretty much corrupt on every level. You know, the police chief, we see some violence breaks out and he just hides. It's just all of those wonderful points within the story, but also making points about Germany in the 80s, but you can see it pretty much just in society in general. That's why it's still a really interesting film. Like I said, the interview with Barbara Sokowa, which is really interesting, and the interview with the editor, which is absolutely fantastic as well. It's part of a trilogy with the marriage of Maria Braun and Veronica Voss, which again I haven't seen them yet, but I'll probably make a point of checking them out at some point, because again, there's just filmmakers that I've missed or passed by, and I know people go, how can you not have seen every Fassbinder film, or every Ozu film, or every Dreyer film, or every Varda film, or every Renoir film, or every Fellini film. I would if I could. So thanks very much for watching this random review on Lola. Please let me know in the comments below what you think of Lola if you've seen it. And hopefully you'll join me again for more random reviews. This is Solitude Ronin, still trying to turn the brightness down, saying farewell